hard, aren't they? It's hard to remember that. Now, Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. That's a rhyme you can remember. 1492. He makes a journey from Spain and lands in what they begin to call the New World, because they didn't know it existed before that, right? How many of you have ever really wanted something very badly, and you had to ask your parents before you could get it? What did you get? What did you want? What kind of toy? A DS, I thought so. And did you get it? How long did you have to ask? 3 weeks. Wow, that seems like a long time. Anyone else have something you had to ask and wait for a long time?
A dog.
A dog, did you get it?
Nope.
Haven't gotten it yet. How long have you been asking?
A year.
A year. Well, that's even longer than 3 weeks. How about you?
I've been asking.
A dog, did you get it? How long have you been asking? 3 years. That's even longer than a year. What else? A hamster, did you get it? How long did you ask? 4 weeks. A phone, a cell phone? Did you get it? Still, how long did you ask for it so far? Every year since you were, what, 2? First grade, so that's almost 4 years now, right? Almost. One more, yes. The Wii, did you get it?
Yes.
How long did you have to ask?
4 years.
4 years. Well, you know what? Christopher Columbus really wanted ships to go from Spain to Asia, or the Indies. Because they had things like silk and silver and spices and really important things. And he had the idea of traveling west to reach the east, right? But he didn't have ships. So he went to Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand and said, please, please, won't you give me ships? I have this really great idea. I know it can go to the Indies by traveling west. And they said, no. And he went back again and again. How many years do you think Christopher Columbus had to ask them before they relented? Yes? Almost. 7 years. 7 years. So for those of you who have been asking for things for 1 year or 3 years or 4 years, imagine Christopher Columbus keep going back year after year asking Queen Isabella for ships. What if he had given up asking, right? Then our whole history would have changed. So he he travels west to try to reach the east, and he bumps into the New World. What did he find there? Yes? He called the people that he met there Indians because he thought he was in India, right? What else did he find? He met a different culture of people, yes?
Yeah.
And they're more accurately called Native Americans. That's what we refer to them as now. They were actually the Taino and the Carib Indians. They had names for themselves. What else did he find? Yes?
Like bananas.
Different kinds of crops, right? Tropical crops that they had never seen before. What else?
Like when we had crops with
Pineapples? Spices. They were looking for spices and gold mostly. They found other things. He took show and tell. Remember when you used to have show and tell? Well, Christopher Columbus collected some things and took them back to Spain for show and tell to Queen Isabella. And afterwards, other people got the idea to do the same thing, to explore to the New World. Can you name some of the other explorers after Christopher Columbus? Yes? Mm-hmm. Henry Hudson. And that was in 1609. We just celebrated the quadricentennial last year. Who else? John Cabot. Giovanni di Verrazzano. Who else? Samuel de Champlain. Jacques Cartier. That was yours? What?
I was going to say Cartier.
Cartier?
Those are the ones we study.
All of those people came to the New World following the idea of Columbus, always looking for that passage to the Indies, right? Henry Hudson thought that our Hudson River was going to take him all the way to India. And then he discovered it goes north. So he called it North River. Did you know that? It wasn't called Hudson River until much later. So they all came to the New World looking for valuable things and going home. At one point, the story changes, though. What was it that changes, that makes it from the age of exploration to the colonial period? Yes?
When the Dutch trips the American
Well, the Dutch also settle in New York State, what we call New York, right? What did they call it when they settled here? Yes? New Amsterdam was that city that's a little bit farther south, right? What do we call that one? New Amsterdam is now New York, right? And the whole area of the Hudson Valley, and even over to Massachusetts, what did they call it? New Netherlands, that's correct. And they were establishing patroons, weren't they? And they were making farms. But even before they did that in 1614, there was a group, I don't think you guys studied this, but there was a group in 1607 that landed in what we now call Virginia. They were the Virginia Company. It was a company that was coming to the New World to settle to make a lot of money by growing crops. They settled in Virginia and they named their town after the King of England at that time. Can you guess what it was? Yeah? There was a King George later during Red War, but this is in 1607. No, I know you guys don't study this, so I'll tell you. It's Jamestown, after King James, who was right after Elizabeth, okay? So Jamestown in 1607 is the first permanent English settlement in the New World. So the colonies were governed by a government far away. In our case, the North American colonies were governed by whom? Who were we? Yes? Yeah?
John Smith.
Well, he was the person in Jamestown that was the governor, but he didn't make the laws himself. England, right. Great Britain or England. So that's what we talk about when we study the colonial period. It was the time in which England was the government for these little satellite communities that they called colonies. Now, they're not the only colonies that took place in the world, and there are still colonies today held by certain countries. But this is our colonial American period. Starts in 1607 with the settlement of Jamestown. What was the technology like, or what was the daily living like? You've